back to my channel. I'm going to be making some spicy lentil soup tonight. So it's a little bit different from the pasta and lentica that a lot of Italians make. I'm not going to put any pasta in mine. I feel that when I do that, it just soaks up a lot of the broth. So I'm going to leave it out. I'm not saying it's bad, it's delicious, but my kitchen, I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to have like bread or something else on the side. If you do double or triple the recipe, it does freeze really well if you want to portion it out for nights when you don't have a lot of time to cook. So let me show you what I use. So this is relatively simple and straightforward. I'm going to be using some brown lentils that I will be pre-cooking, as well as onion, celery, and carrot. I have a serrano chili, some crushed tomato, some crushed red pepper flake and bay leaf, and I will also be using salt, pepper, and olive oil. Okay, so for my lentils, I'm basically going to put them in some water, and I'm going to bring this to a boil and then turn off the heat. This will basically pre-cook them a little bit, and it will also prevent the soup from becoming like a muddy, cloudy color. I don't like that in my lentil soup. So this shouldn't take too long. I'm just going to bring the water up to a boil. In the meantime, while the lentils are coming to a pre-boil, I'm going to be chopping up my vegetables. I would say about a medium dice if you have like a larger carrot. The celery that I'm working with is from the heart of the celery, so it doesn't really need too much manipulation. And then for the serrano pepper, I'm not just going to stick it in whole. I am actually going to pierce it on both sides, make a little incision, and that I will toss in. So now that the lentils have come up to a boil, I'm going to turn the heat off and just kind of let it sit for a little bit. Okay, so if you can see, like, the water from the pre-boil is basically, you know, kind of cloudy, kind of brown. I'm going to be draining this under, I'm going to be draining this and then rinsing it under some warm to hot water and setting it aside so it's ready when I build my soup. Okay, so I have a heavy bottomed pan and I put some olive oil in the bottom to heat it up, and I'm going to be dropping in all of my vegetables. And I'll be stirring this around. You basically want to get this coated in the olive oil. And I will be adding a pinch of salt just to kind of get it started. I've also heated up some water in a kettle so that when I add my liquid, it'll be hot. It's not going to lower the temperature. Just throw that in there. I'm going to add a little more salt. And then I'm just going to cover this a little bit so it can sweat. Okay, so my vegetables have been cooking for several minutes, and the pan that I'm using is pretty cool because it has these little rivets in the cover, so when steam comes up from whatever's cooking in the pot, it just ends up, the moisture ends up going back into the pot. So I will find this online if you're interested and link it down below. But now that my vegetables have cooked down a little bit, I am going to add my bay leaf. And I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper. Now, this is optional. If you don't, want it spicy, you could just keep it basic, and you don't have to put the chili in. You don't have to put the pepper flake in, and it'll still be good. But I do like the heat. And once that's been stirred around, then I'm gonna add the tomato. And let this kind of hang out together for about a minute, and then I'll add the water. Okay, so now that this is bubbling, it is really thick. I'm going to be adding some cracked black pepper. And you can taste it and adjust for salt, but you might want to wait until a little bit towards the end. And I'm going to be adding some hot water. And it's, the amount of water, again, it's just going to depend on how much soup you're making, but you want to loosen this up. And remember, you're going to be putting the lentils in there, and it will continue to cook in the liquid. So I've heated about 1 liter. I've only put part of it. I put maybe about, let's just say half a liter. And then once I put the lentils in, I will probably adjust the water again. But this I'm going to cover now and let it simmer. I want the vegetables to start to become tender before adding my lentil. So this has been simmering for about 8 minutes, and I tasted it. It's doing pretty good right now. So I am going to be adding my lentils and continue cooking this. And I'll just check on it periodically, but I'm guessing it's not gonna, I'm gonna guess 20 minutes. And see, it's really thick, which is what I like, without having to add pasta. If you add pasta, it just sucks up the water so fast. You can add pasta. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm going to leave this pasta free tonight. And I'm gonna add just a little bit more water. If you decide to freeze this, I would portion this out first, and then when you take it out of the freezer and heat it up in a pot, then add your pasta. Don't do it before, because the texture of the pasta will just get kind of funny. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 12 to 15 minutes. And it looks really good. Just gonna taste it to see if the beans are kind of cooked. Yeah, okay, so pre-cooking them does save a lot of time here because it is ready. And I'm going to ladle this in a shallow bowl, and I'll show you how I top it. Okay, so I've ladled some in a bowl, and I'm just gonna kind of drizzle a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, the good stuff. And then I happen to like a lot of fresh herbs, and I happen to have cilantro and parsley in the fridge. And fresh herbs, they just don't seem to last very long in my fridge. So anytime that I have an opportunity to use them, I will. And I didn't put any herbs other than the bay leaf in the soup, so I'm going to put this on top. And it looks like a lot, but once you combine it in the soup while you're eating, it's actually gonna wilt down quite a bit. And I do have some avocado. And if you want, you can put a little bit of lemon also, just to dress it up a bit. You don't have to, this is just what I'm doing, even on avocado actually. And there you go. So I've also paired this up with some white wine and some, they're not exactly tortilla, they're like tostadas, and they're from Oaxaca. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will have a detailed recipe down below, so please check that out. Honestly, it's not that spicy. If you wanted to add an extra serrano or another hotter pepper, you can, or if you want to increase the pepper flake, you can. But this is really good. It just kind of hits the back of your throat. For me, it's perfect. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.